What up, people? I am back for another video. Today, I am reviewing a movie my friend Steve recommended me called Stone Cold, which came out back in 1991, and it is a really good movie. The simple plot is Joe Huff, played by Brian Bosworth, who I've actually seen him in like other movies. He's pretty good in this. He's a cop was suspended, but the FBI enlists him to go basically undercover as John Stone, who wants to join this white supremacist biker gang ran by Chains, played by Lance Henriksen, who is really good in this movie. And I was telling Steve this. Yeah, they're white supremacist biker gang. They have like SS. You see like the fucking Nazi flag and stuff, but they don't virtue signal about it. They're just bad guys in a movie. If anything, they're kind of just bikers. They're not. They don't make a big deal about. I feel like whereas a movie today, they would make it such a big deal. Whereas like no, the movie is about him infiltrating this gang. He ends up falling for Chain's girlfriend Nancy, who I actually thought was pretty good in this movie. And you have William Forsythe in this, who you might recognize. He's in Devil's Rejects, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. He's in a lot of Rob Zombie movies. He's in Con Air. He's also in that film. So he's a pretty good actor. So plays Ice Chain's like kind of right hand man, who throughout the film doesn't basically believe in Stone. Eventually, he's like the first one to realize that Stone's an alias, but Stone manages to kind of kill him before he's able to tell Chains. But Chains eventually finds out because he has someone on the inside who can give him details. Because Joe was from Alabama, but they had to go undercover for this gang in Mississippi, and their plan is they want to kill Senator Whipperton, who basically is like the figurehead of trying to stop this gang, and even has one of theirs on death row. So he plans for them like on the day of to basically do a mass murder and kill that guy. And man, Lance Henriksen is so fucking good in this. He plays such a really good bad guy. He really nailed it. That scene, the scene specifically I'm thinking of, is the scene when he figures out that John is Joe, and the way he just casually kills Nancy. He's like, I gotta break your heart, and he just pulls out his gun and just shoots her, sucking cold. Or even the scene after he killed the witnesses, because the bunch of him and his gang held hostages at the Capitol or at the I'll just say the government building, the courthouse, and basically kind of becomes like John's on the inside and he starts taking them out kind of deal. So pretty fun little 80s action flick, fun action scenes, fun soundtrack. There's some side characters like he has a partner in the FBI and like his captain who you see kind of throughout the film. But mostly once he's undercover. Like I even love the opening supermarket scene where he stops a bunch of robbers. It's an 80s style action flick. It came out in 91, but you still have that carryover, especially with the action flicks where they still had that 80s tone until you got it more in the 90s. Brian Bosworth's a believable lead. Like he looks like he could kick your ass. Lance Henriksen is a great villain. Like Lance Henriksen is one of those actors who could play a good guy, a great bad guy. Like he knows how to like be both, like a hero and a villain. Because like in Aliens, I mean, even though he's a droid or synthetic, he's a good guy, but he's a great bad guy in this film. So like he's a chameleon. So I definitely recommend this movie if you love just that old like that 80s style of action film. You'll love it. Simple film, not really a lot to explain. It's very simple plot. It's an undercover film for a lot of it, but it's done well. And yeah, you buy Brian I was saying the actor's name, Joe, who undercover as John Stone, starting to fall for Nancy. Though she does figure out he's a cop too, but she does initially agree to go undercover with him. Um, but yeah, this is done well. I love this movie. So tomorrow the plan is to do a Screen Rant article. I shared it on Twitter. This dumbass title: Why Halloween is canon, or Halloween and Jurassic World crossover is possible. All because I guess one of the characters is named Dr. Loomis. I have to roast this piece of shit. So I'll be doing that probably maybe this time tomorrow night around here. It's like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It'll probably be late. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. Sunday, we'll be doing the Killers game. I want to watch that film again, so I'm going to check that out this weekend again and get a second opinions. I saw it once, but I want to give like a more detailed opinion, so I want to watch it again. So, but overall, it's a great film. I mean, basically, it's a bunch of assassins fighting. That's kind of the simple basis of the plot. I mean, great cast, just all around. Batista was pretty good in this. Drew's little cameo is pretty good. Like, he shows he's a good actor, so I definitely want to watch it again. So I'll be reviewing that on Sunday, and yeah, so that'll be so far that's gonna be pretty much be the schedule for the rest of the weekend. But anyway, let's get into this movie. Oh, before rating, I would give this movie like a 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It was a solid like action flick. It knows what it is. Yeah. Anyway, Pin Down Podcast tomorrow. Link in the description. So the film starts with this supermarket getting robbed, and you see Joe Huff, who he's on suspension, take down all these robbers, which was a pretty good little sequence. I'm not gonna lie. Just thinking about this now. This scene kind of felt like Cobra. I wondered if they were inspired. Because Cobra, starts with this guy robbing a liquor store and holding people hostage. Basically the same thing in this, even though the only difference it's an entire group of people in this one versus in Cobra, it's just one person. But it's very much similar to, I'm not saying it's stealing, but I'm just saying it has a kind of a cool. I love that they do kind of homage to Cobra there, if that's what they were going for. But yeah, he takes out the bad guy. He gets enlisted by the FBI. He's gonna be transferred to Mississippi so he can look into, because he's an Alabama cop, to look into infiltrate this gang, and white supremacist biker gang, who led by Chains, who's been going around, which you do see earlier, where there's like a little montage of them just killing a bunch of senators and a bunch of people, and he has to infiltrate the gang, and he eventually does, where they arrange, the FBI basically helps them arrange a murder where it's a fake murder, where they hire somebody to act like they get killed, and which we find out later, the guy fucks him over later on. And he starts working for the gang. He kind of just does a bunch of jobs throughout the gang. He makes a deal with not PCP. It's like P2P because it wasn't PCP. I think they said something else. Because they deal with the mafia, but the mafia feels like they've been stiff. So there's a scene where he goes out with Nancy, and the mafia robs her, and John tries to stop it because that's his alias. But John just gives her the money so it can appear because because Chain's a biker, so he's basically in this. He's in this leader of this biker gang. Of course, he's not gonna. Let's be real. He's not the best boyfriend. We'll just say that. And man, Lance Henriksen is just so every scene like he carries the fucking screen. Like I love when an actor who's really good just chews the scenery, and he does do that in this film. And the funny thing is, it's on YouTube. That's actually where I watched it. It was on YouTube. So I really just dug, and it is pretty violent too. They don't hold back on the violence, especially when we get to the court scene later on. So Ice, who's the right hand man of before there's a scene where one of Chain's bikers, that was the same scene before they robbed Nancy. They attacked one of the bikers. They just straight up threw a grenade. I was just like, holy shit. They're just in the middle of the city. They just casually drive by. And apparently it's supposed to be Mississippi. I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to act like I know, because I know about the mob a little bit, but I don't know like the entire history. I'm like, I don't know if the mafia were in Mississippi. I don't know. But I guess I'm fine with it in this film. It's fine. It's not like, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but because they're dealing drugs together. And they throw a grenade at one of Chain's people. For some reason, the dude didn't die. I don't know how he didn't die, because he was pretty close. Because they threw the grenade, and then because it was near a car, and it exploded. Like, alone, the force of the explosion alone should have killed him, but he somehow survived. His face is very fucked up. They do show you that. There's a scene where you see the gang visit him in the hospital, which is like insane, because they just all walk in and they have this like intense music playing. It's perfect. So they then kill the guy who did it. Because they confront one of the mafia, basically arrange a deal, because they kill their leader. Because they have his head in a box and they're just at a restaurant. It's pretty. This film does not hold back, man. It's a pretty violent movie. I'm just gonna jump to when the reveal happens. Well, because throughout the film, he's falling for Nancy, and she initially tries to leave, but he convinces her to stay, because basically he tells her, like, you could tell she had a feeling he wasn't a cop, because he was like really nice to her and all that. So, or he wasn't a biker anyway, or wasn't like actually part of the gang. So he then comes back, because there's a scene where they have a funeral for Ice, who gets killed by John, because basically this is where because Ice finds out, because he followed John because John was talking with one of the cops who's actually, there's a scene earlier where he fakes a murder, helps fake another murder, because he's posing as like the truck driver. So he fakes it, makes it look like he murdered him, but Ice figures out it's fake. So Ice does a chase, but he ends up getting, actually, I don't think John kills him, gets killed in the crash. And basically, well, because at that point, I don't think Chain still didn't really know. But then, yeah, the scene later, he gets the reveal, because John shows up later. He goes to their hideout. The bikers take him to Chains, and then Chains pretty much pulls a gun out on him, because we get the reveal that the guy who he faked murdered earlier, not the one he did with the truck, but the one he did initially to get in the gang, betrayed him. Even though Chains just kills him with the way Chains just will kill you with no mind. Like, it's just, like a normal day. That's what, to me, that is a good villain too. If you're just like, oh, you just kill, like, it's just you're it's like basically anything most normal people do in their normal day, the way someone just will kill somebody and it's like normal. That's what Chains does in this. He just, because there's that scene, and to get to John, because John's like, oh, there's a couple of guys, holding him and all that. They force him to watch Nancy get murdered. It is fucking savage, to be honest. This whole scene, it's like, god damn, that's a good bad guy scene. He's like, because he says something, and basically to break them, he's either break the heart or something like that, and then he shoots her because he knows she loves him and he loves her. So, and I'm not gonna lie, Brian Bosworth's acting in the scene is done well. Like, he really sold it when he's like, no, like, you bought it. So they then put him in a helicopter. They basically are getting ready to do their attack. Chains poses as a minister, a priest, or a pastor, one of the two, and goes inside the church. He's posing as like one of the people watching the trial, but he actually has a gun already in there. Like, I love how they don't just make him a dumb, like, fucking bad guy. Like, you could tell he's been planning this for a while. Like, he already had a gun under the seat. And basically the scene, yeah, he does the massacre at the court, and they start taking people hostage. That scene is crazy. Like, he just kills all the judges, starts killing cops, just killing anybody, and start, obviously holding some of the people hostage, like the people there. And he decides, because they basically have everything blocked, and that's when you have like a standoff while Brian, at this point, Joe gets out of the helicopter because he's held hostage in the helicopter. He breaks out, drops one of them with the one of the guys in the helicopter, and puts like a piece of dynamite, and he blows up. He then jumps out the helicopter to get in the court, so he can try to get in, and he basically just kind of starts, when he gets in, he just starts, it's your normal action film where the hero gets into the building or wherever what the bad guys are and just starts taking out bad guys to be ready to confront the big bad. And that's kind of what this was for a bit. He was just taking out a lot of the gang pretty brutally in different ways. This film is really good. Like, I just love how just simple it is. And that's why, I know a lot of people like to bag on like 80s and in early 90s style action films, but to me, they're just simple plots, man. They knew what they were. Nothing great. I'm not saying this is like the greatest action film ever made, but it knows what it is. And I'm going to say it. Fucking Lance Henriksen as Chains is a great villain. He is really good. I really think he sells it. That scene where he just kills Nancy, like, yeah, that was his girlfriend. And he just, I forgot there's another scene where throughout the film, as John Stone, Joe as John Stone, befriends one of the bikers, and unfortunately when one threatens to leave, he gets his hand chopped off, and he puts the guy's hand or fingers inside one of he turns on a motorcycle, and he puts his hand basically in the wheel, and it's like, holy shit, this guy fucking Chains is insane, man. He, like, I think this is I really am, it's almost like one of those roles, I'm mad at myself for not watching this earlier, because Lance Henriksen was so fucking great in this. Like, that is how you do an action movie villain. Like, you wanted him to get, especially after that scene. And then when he eventually finally faces off against, when he kind of, Joe kicks his ass pretty quick. I mean, it makes sense. I like that they did it kind of relatively realistic. They didn't do this drawn out fight. I don't mind it sometimes if it makes sense, but they're not equals. Joe's this big dude, and I love Lance Henriksen, but Lance Henriksen was crazy though, because there's a scene Joe tried to get back to the hostages, and unfortunately he was too late. He just found a bunch of them dead. And then Chain tries to get him a gun, but Joe just punches him down the court steps and just basically beats his ass. And then basically arrests him. instead of killing him initially. But then, kind of like if you remember Lethal Weapon, kind of like that, where yeah, he goes for the one of the officer's gun when he's being arrested, and then the officer, his basically his friend manages to get it in time and shoots him, shoots Shane's dead, and he like falls off the thing. Really well done, really good scene, and yeah, Lance Henriksen he got his. I do kind of wish it was Joe who got the kill, but I'm alright with how they did it. I think it made sense. They were like, you know what, let's let him get his. But then, he fucked up and tried to grab a gun and he got himself shot. So, yeah. Yeah. So, thank you, Steak, for recommending me this. I kind of mad at myself for not watching this earlier. Especially just for not seeing Lance Henriksen's performance in this much sooner. Because to me, this is up there with some of his best roles. It's not like Bishop or... I actually really loved him in AVP also. But I really do... Oh, I loved him in Terminator. For the little role he has. Like, he's just but this is definitely one of his best. I think, especially bad guy roles. This might be my favorite bad guy role of his. He really nailed it in this film. So, I give this film about an 8 out of 10. Love the soundtrack. I thought Joe was a pretty good lead. I love the whole undercover stuff. One thing I do like about Undercover is it's just like there is a little bit of like, not horror, but like you're kind of scared for the protagonist because there's at any moment he could get fucking exposed. And obviously Undercover in a way is like almost like the ultimate form of acting because you're almost acting for your life. Because you fuck this up, it's not like you just get fired at worst or whatever, or you have to do another take. No, you get killed. You fuck up, you can get killed. So there's that aspect. So you're like almost like there is a little bit of like, ooh, is he gonna get caught? Is she gonna get caught? Is this person gonna get caught? So there is that little bit of like tension there. That's what makes I do think undercover films can be really well done in that sense because anytime they get exposed, it can be So I definitely recommend it. I'm mad at myself for not seeing this sooner. But yeah, and like I said, I'm really happy that the biker gang were just villains. They weren't, oh, we get a virtue signal about them being white supremacists and their, the ideology's bad. Like, yes, their ideology sucks, but that's not why their biker gangs go around killing people. If you just take out the ideology part of it, which really isn't, it just seemed like it's more for show because he doesn't go on like really any speeches about like white supremacy. It just seemed like more of an aesthetic thing. There's more of a biker gang. There's bad guys, which I like. Simple as. So, yeah. Overall, really like this film. Nance, that scene, that's one of my favorite Lance Henriksen scenes now is that scene when he kills Nancy. It's just so, like, I was like, holy shit. Like, the way he just turns around and just shoots her and just, it's like, damn, bro. That's fucking evil. It's like, yeah. So, overall, really good film. So, tomorrow, Screen Rant article. It's just really quick. I'm gonna go on this article really quick. Not all the way. I didn't read it all the way, but the fact that they just tie, because I guess one of the characters in this new Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World 4, as I'm gonna call it, I think it has the name's Rebirth, which is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a terrible fucking name. But I don't really understand why they're trying to tie it to Halloween, because I guess one of the characters' name is Loomis, or his last name is Loomis. It's like, come on, Loomis is kind of a common name, because at that point, okay, is Billy Loomis related to fucking Dr. Loomis at that point too? Because I could do that there too. That's stupid. And also, they were even talking about like a Jurassic World Halloween crossover could happen. Like, no, it can't. They don't even. They're two different tones. They don't. Anyway, I'll talk about that more tomorrow. Fucking A, this is just so stupid. It's like, what are we doing? I love both franchises. I love Halloween. I love Jurassic Park. They don't go together. That is like if you're gonna cross over Halloween, the only thing you cross it over with is like maybe Michael Myers. I mean, fuck, I'm not. Maybe with like Jason and like Freddy. That is like the at most. If you're gonna cross over Halloween with anything, that what would how the fuck would a Halloween Jurassic Park thing even work? What? I'll talk about that more tomorrow. It's just that's so stupid. But anyway, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. Um, Pin Down Podcast tomorrow at 3:05. So, link will be in the description. Let's go. Get ready to wrap it here. I really enjoy this movie. Thank you again, Steve, for recommending me this. Always recommending good stuff for them. Recommend me stuff. So, love your recommendations. But other than that, guys, I will talk to y'all later. Peace.